It began as a joke. Light, harmless, or so I believed. We were having dinner. One of those ordinary evenings that feel safe, familiar. The gentle clink of silverware. A candle flickering between us. The quiet rhythm of marriage that had settled into routine. I mentioned my best friend Ryan, the one I'd known since college, laughing about how he still calls me trouble. My husband gave a faint smile, but didn't lift his eyes from his plate. His silence made me press on, maybe hoping for a reaction, maybe wanting to remind him that others still found me interesting. You know, I said, swirling my wine, Ryan says if we had dated back then, he'd never have let me go. His eyes finally met mine, calm, steady, unreadable. And what do you say to that? He asked, voice quiet, controlled, not angry. It disarmed me. I laughed again, softer this time, aware that the air had shifted. I quickly said he was too late, trying to keep it playful. But the words sounded hollow, like lines I no longer believed in. He nodded slowly and set down his fork. Good, he said, leaning back, because jokes like that have a way of revealing what people really think. His tone wasn't sharp. It was worse, it was honest, and for the first time in years, I had no answer. The silence that followed wasn't loud. It was sharp, slicing between us like something alive. I tried to laugh it off, to steer the conversation to safer ground, but he didn't engage. Instead, he gathered the plates and began clearing the table, movements deliberate, calm. That calmness unnerved me far more than anger could have. When he returned, he stood by the window, gazing into the dark. You know, he said finally, voice steady, I've never made you feel like you had to compete for my attention. But lately, it feels like you're testing how far you can go. My stomach tightened. He wasn't wrong. Somewhere between comfort and routine, I'd started craving his reaction, any reaction. The teasing, the small comments, the subtle provocations. They were all ways to feel noticed again. I wanted him to look at me the way he used to, when love felt new, unpredictable. I had considered that maybe he was just tired of being tested. I was just joking, I said softly. You're overthinking it. He turned to meet my gaze fully. No, he said. You were testing if I still care. His words hit me like a stone in the chest. He wasn't yelling. He didn't need to. The quiet certainty in his voice stripped away every layer of denial I had left. For the first time, I realized I had turned affection into a game. And in doing so, I had forgotten exactly who I was playing against. That night, I couldn't sleep. His words echoed in my mind, repeating endlessly, You were testing if I still care. I lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling, realizing how far we had drifted from who we once were. It wasn't about Ryan. It never had been. It was about me. The insecurity I had hidden beneath confidence. The quiet fear becoming invisible in my own marriage. I had mistaken his calm for indifference, his steadiness for distance. I wanted passion, but what I really needed was reassurance. And instead of asking, I tried to provoke it. The next morning, he stood by the door, dressed for work, keys in hand. I approached cautiously. Hey, I started, voice cracking. He paused, waiting. I'm sorry, I said finally. It wasn't fair. You didn't deserve that. He looked at me for a long moment and nodded. You didn't need to make me jealous, he said quietly. You just needed to tell me you missed us. Something inside me shifted, not from sadness, but clarity. He wasn't cold. He was hurt, and I had caused it, piece by piece, with every careless word masked as humor. When he left, the silence felt different. Not empty, but honest. It forced me to confront the truth I've been avoiding. Love doesn't fade in an instant. It frays slowly, thread by thread, until one day you realize you've been tugging at the edges all along. That day, I stopped teasing and started listening.